Welcome to Hospitality Meets with me, Phil Street, where each week we take a light-hearted look into the stories and individuals that make up the wonderful world of hospitality. Today's guest is Amelia Harper, Director of Communications at the stunning Rosewood, London. Coming up on today's show, Amelia reveals one of her greatest fears.
Because I wanted to get away from those pineapple hedgehogs.
Phil once again manages to go very random. Lots of people with dogs in bags. And Amelia gives us the best answer we've ever had to this question. Do you have any funny stories from your career that you can share with us?
Oh, yeah.
All that and a whole lot more as Amelia chats us through her wonderful story so far. Amelia's story is awesome, coming from humble beginnings to now leading marketing and communications at one of London's most luxurious hotels. It's a tale of humility mixed with passion and excellence, all backed up with a mischievous sense of humour. It's yet another wonderful story from this brilliant industry, and we've got more in the coming weeks. So please don't forget to give us a like, subscribe and a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening. It really does make a huge difference. Enjoy. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Hospitality Meets with me, your host, Phil Street. Today we're back in hotels and I'm delighted to welcome someone from within a part of the industry that we've not really covered yet, and that being marketing and communications. Not only that, today's guest is also an Acorn Award winner just last year in 2021, and that's an award that recognises flair and passion of 30 people under the age of 30. So it gives me huge pleasure in welcoming the Director of Communications for Rosewood, London. That's the fabulous Amelia Harper.
Hello.
Welcome. How are you?
Hi, Phil. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very, very good indeed. And first of all, before we get into anything, we have to talk about where you're sat.
Yes, absolutely.
Where are you at the moment?
Well, this isn't my office, that's for sure.
What a shame.
The nicer parts of the hotel are saved for our clients and guests. But I'm in our Manor House suite, which is our presidential suite, and it even has its own postcode. It's that big. So,
wow.
So, and I'm just hanging out in the living room here, chatting to you this morning.
As you do. On a Thursday morning? It's a Thursday morning, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I don't know what day it is anymore. And we're only in February.
Yeah. Well, which is allegedly a quieter month.
Supposedly. But yeah, it's back. Business is back, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think COVID's obviously done. That's in the past, but now we've got one eye on what's going on in Eastern Europe. But we're not going to get into that today.
Yes, we'll save that for another time.
Yeah, absolutely. But you definitely win the prize for the most opulent setting for anybody who's been on the show so far. So there's a challenge to everyone. Make sure you're sitting in opulent surroundings. But no, that's great. So yeah, well, let's just get straight to it and head all the way back to the beginning of your career. How did you get into hospitality in the first place?
Oh, wow. Well, do I give you the long edit or
absolutely the long? Yeah. Let's go long and see what happens. Okay.
Well, believe it or not, I was born in a pub, and so
literally.
So so hospitality is in my DNA, if you like. My family have always run pubs in the Midlands. Not anymore; they're retired from that. But that was really, where I started in terms of the most fundamental level of hospitality. And I lived above a pub for a good 15 years of my life,
wow.
Which was really fun. And
you must have seen some life.
Oh yes, but a lot of life. And from collecting glasses to helping the cleaners when I'm 9 years old to helping my mom do pineapple hedgehogs for a buffet.
My God, pineapple hedgehogs.
Do you remember those?
Oh my God, yeah.
So yeah, I kind of, that's where my story began. And then I didn't really intend to go into hospitality in the way that I am in now. I studied marketing, so that was definitely always a passion. And I actually ended up in Harrods in the beginning
of my career. Not a bad start.
definitely not a bad start. I knew I wanted to be in luxury. I probably, because I wanted to get away from those pineapple hedgehogs. Um, but yeah, I had an appetite for luxury, and I didn't know what that was yet. And I went to work with Harrods on their kind of like graduate intern graduate scheme, which meant that I was able to work across a lot of different departments as part of that scheme. It
Yeah.
was an amazing, intense training for me into that world and into that life. And I ended up in events actually and helping in that area. And I really loved it. I really loved that side of things. And I met someone who was a consultant for not just events, but also luxury hospitality. And he just said, you know, if you ever want a job, call me. And I was kind of ready to move on from Harrods. And so I ended up in Intercontinental Westminster,
Okay.
which is now Conrad London St. James.
Yeah.
So it doesn't actually exist anymore. But that was right in the heart of the political area, and you know, lots of exciting things going on
Once again, I bet you saw some life.
in the hotel. Yes, and what
Which you don't need to
politicians get up
discuss.
to.
Yeah.
I'm now very aware of that. And so yeah, I kind of started there, and I loved it, and I met some great people. One of them being Andrew Coney, who is the general manager of the Harry.
Yes,
And
and a friend of the show.
yes, I know. He's been on with you, and he's a
Yeah.
great friend and mentor to me as well.
And
And
has a
so
wicked sense of humour.
amazing. And we worked together for a few years on all of the, you know, wonderful things that we were doing over there. And he went over to this boutique hotel in Belgravia, and I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, I think you should come over and see what's going on here. And so I went from something very corporate to something very lifestyle and boutique, which was a real amazing lesson because, you know, in a corporate hotel business, everything is done for you actually. Like your
Right.
creativity can only go so far in the sense of like, you know, there are established guidelines and protocols and things that come with a brand like the size of IHG or Hilton.
Yeah.
So to then go to a boutique hotel where I was a one-man band and we were taking it from, I don't know what is my problem with rebrands, but I went to Intercon rebranded, and then I moved to Belgrave's as it was.
Of
It was
course. Yeah, yeah.
that hotel. And then I had to rebrand that. The owner decided that he wanted to create his own brand. And so the Harry is named after his father, his late father. And so we kind of had to rebrand that and bring that to life and create all of this mischief that comes with Mr. Coney, but
I
also
was going to say, you've definitely
with
got
the
the right
Harry
general
and
manager
this,
for
yeah.
Mischief.
And this boutique, you know, this kind of boutique energy that, you know, it is a boutique hotel, and you can be playful with that, and you can, you know, really bring out the team's personalities. And, you know, I think that Andrew, not to talk too much about him and give him too much attention on this, but
Definitely not. No.
his business card that I made for him was like chief mischief maker or something like that.
Right.
You know, we just had loads of fun with it, and that
Yeah.
was really, really
But
cool.
that
And
also
then
sounds like there's like it's a really lovely story around the rebrand as well, because
yeah,
like there's some family heart and connection to
yeah, it
that.
is it's a jewel in the owner. He lives in Hong Kong, but this is his baby, and he has a lot of different hotels under different brands. But it was about kind of bringing all of that personality to life, but also in such an eccentric British area like Belgravia, the
Yeah.
characters that are in that kind of on those streets in Mottcombe Street and Elizabeth Street, and it's really whimsical and playful and fun, and everyone's totally eccentric, and it was really great fun to launch that. But also the ambition of that was to bring in that community into the hotel and really make them feel as if it's an extension of their businesses and their homes. And
Yeah.
so we did that for a little while.
Lots of people with dogs in bags.
Right. And dogs in very interesting outfits.
I don't mean that in an inhumane way, by the way. Just Yeah,
Yeah,
with the little
yeah.
heads poking out of handbags.
Yes, there are, and in fabulously dressed outfits, which always seem to amaze me. Um,
The dogs you're talking about here.
the dog, well, and the owners,
And the owners,
yes,
yeah.
both, both. And so yeah, that was a good little stint for me, and then I was kind of ready to go to something bigger, and weirdly, I was having lunch on the terrace at Rosewood, London, with my friends, and I said, "Imagine if I worked here." And they were like, "You'd be great here." And this is like the purest form of manifestation, because I didn't have any kind of idea that I would actually work for Rosewood, London. But then a marketing manager position came up, and I applied and got the job, and I've been here for 5 years now. And so
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like, I mean, to have that kind of, like, you're not even saying I want to work here. You're just saying, God, imagine if I did,
Yeah,
and
I
you've
mean, it was a
just thrown
dream.
that
Yeah,
out.
yeah. It was a real kind of, wow. I mean, the building, the property is stunning. The team here are, the industry's best, and so it was just a kind of a dream to be able to even think that I would work here. And so yeah, it came up, and I was like, that's odd. Let me just apply, because I think you get to a stage in your career where you know what brands you want to work for.
Yeah.
Like you really know that, and definitely Rosewood, London, and the group as well was something that I was aligning to. Yeah, and that was 5 years ago now, and I've been here ever since.
So you started as marketing manager, but
Yeah.
you're now director of communications.
Yeah.
How does that evolve from marketing manager into director of communications?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I came on board as marketing manager, and with a real, I'm kind of a bit of a geek. I like digital as well as all of the other fun partnership PR-y things, but I like money. I like
Fair
numbers,
enough.
and I like to be able to show that as well. I like to be able to show what marketing can do and the revenue it can produce, especially through digital marketing. And so that kind of was where what my expertise were coming into the role. And within 2 years of kind of implementing everything here, I actually had the amazing opportunity to become area marketing manager for Europe. So, really taking what we'd done and best practices in this property, and going to Hotel de Crillon in Paris, but also our gorgeous property in Tuscany, Castiglione del Bosco, and really bringing the teams up to speed with digital marketing and best practice, and how that they can implement, and working with them. So then that continued for another couple of years, and then eventually, kind of post COVID, our team changed and things grew and evolved. And then the opportunity of being director of communications arrived. And then, yeah, I've stepped into that role now, which is amazing. So I'm kind of doing all of those things, from digital to PR to social media to branding and partnerships, and just having a lot of fun along the way,
Yeah.
which we
Well,
can do on this property, which is it's the best actual transition from the Harry, is that I went from corporate style luxury to boutique style luxury, and actually this is best of both in a way, because it's that real elevated luxury, but with so much soul and ability to do things that are outside of the box. We're not encouraged within the Rosewood brand to kind of play safe. It's about being creative and doing really creative things. And luckily, here we have an amazing MD, Michael Bonser, who is all on board for all of those things. And we have a great product that allows us to be playful and fun, with the bar, like Scarves Bar and Gerald Scarves caricatures, and his energy and his personality to bring that to life is really amazing. So there's lots of ways that we can do that.
yeah, it is. It's almost all roads lead here, really, in
Yeah,
terms of your
yeah,
career so far. Like
yeah,
you've
absolutely.
taken pieces of the corporate life, the boutique life, and now they're kind of coming together. And I definitely don't want to mark Rosewood as a corporate organization in any way, but they are a very well-known brand around
and
the
they're
world.
established in that sense. They have that, the sizable infrastructure underneath. So it's best
support,
both.
but freedom. Which is, it's what we all want, isn't it?
It's a dream. Yeah, I cannot complain.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a question really around, when did you kind of know that marketing was what you wanted to kind of get into and go for, and how did that come about?
Oh, that is a really good question.
I told you it would be like a job interview.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I think, back to those pub days, I mean, my sister and I are both in marketing now. She's in L'Oreal, working over there. And we used to do the craziest things in terms of like a bit salesy, like. So we'd make cakes that were awful, by the way. And then we would sell them to the guests of the pub, who would kindly give us the money and then decline the cake, which just shows that we aren't going on Bake Off anytime soon.
Yeah, that's fair.
And, we used to like resell our McDonald's toys so that we could go and get like, sweets from the sweet shop and stuff. I think there was a bit of that kind of entrepreneurial sales spirit, but I think sales for me wasn't that fit, like that natural fit. I also had a really magical childhood, and my mum is the best storyteller that is on this planet. I mean, the things that we used to like, the way that she used to make the hardest situations into such a magical situation.
Yeah.
I think the sales piece and the storytelling piece actually equates to that marketing part.
For sure. I can see that.
And selling that dream. And I think that's where I soon knew, events wasn't for me. Sales wasn't for me. I could see that happening around me because sales, events, and marketing all sit in the similar departments within hotels. And I soon saw, okay, I see what they're doing, and that's not quite for me. And, as it evolved and, creative ideas coming out and executing them, it just solidified, I really love this. And I looked around, outside of the industry, like we all do, is the grass greener? And, I think it's also the people as well, being able to tell people's stories that are as talented as the people that we work with. I was looking outside of the industry and I was like, but am I going to leave all of this behind? These people that I'm, celebrating and really kind of like lifting up and elevating, is what would my life be without that? And then that kind of made me stay, and I continued my journey, so
I think it's such a massive part of hospitality though, right? I mean, ultimately what is okay, let's talk about the fact that you are sitting in one of the most beautiful buildings in London, but the building's absolutely nothing, right, without the people that create the experience.
I mean, everyone has a beautiful building.
Yeah.
Like this product is beautiful. The hotel is stunning. The property is amazing. But everyone has a gorgeous marble lobby or a bathtub, or, visually we can create that. Whereas the people are what makes this place, which gives it soul. I mean, you could even identify that in throughout the pandemic. I mean, when the building is empty, it's so sad. It's the people, the team that bring this place to life, and they keep people, our guests coming back. It's them that really, that people are here for. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think actually marketing within that whole context, for me, marketing is always such a wonderfully positive part of the business.
Yes.
Because
and I have a sunny disposition, so
I am
a positive person. So it fits me very, very well.
Yeah, and because it's all about, I suppose, at the end of the day, it's about, like, we have a product, or we have something that we think is going to be of interest for people to come into our space and experience,
Mm-hmm.
that's positive. Like, I mean, what do we do to make sure that the world knows about that?
Yeah.
That's effectively, and I suppose you can then apply that logic to most things in life.
Yeah.
There's always a positive and a negative outlook on something,
Yeah.
and but marketing always is the one that puts a positive spin on things.
It does. It does. And everyone says that in the hotel. They're like, "How do you remain? You know, we're a happy little bunch in the communications team, and but what do we have to? You know, it's I'd rather look at the positive side of life and how we can make things better. And so yeah, but we're sunshine and rainbows,
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
today. I feel out there.
yes, absolutely, it's lovely. Yeah, the sun keeps shining directly in my eyes, but
Yeah.
yeah, how does that work then in terms of? I suppose you're wonderfully sunny, and you come up with a wonderfully sunny idea where you think, yeah, this will get people coming into our spaces,
Yeah.
and then you go to the operations team, and they go, you're mental. What
Oh
are you
yeah, that
doing
happens
to
a
us?
lot.
Does it?
Yeah, it does happen a lot. Well, we're exceptionally close to the operations team.
I suppose you have to be, don't you?
I mean, it's so important to build that relationship from the get-go, and you know, even when my team started, they spent time in departments, you know, in housekeeping, cleaning rooms, you know, giving back actually, because we're exceptionally privileged in our role, right? Like we aren't on the front line, as you say, you know, at the front desk and working with clients on a day to day and handling all the challenges that come with that in-person service and
Yeah,
the demanding service that is required for a luxury property like ourselves. And so we have to begin to appreciate that. I think that's the fundamental part. And then by building those relationships and working together, we are able to go to them with crazy ideas and say, we want to execute this. And then that they are on board because they know that we're doing it to benefit the hotel and to benefit the positioning and the growth of business and things like that, but also that we have actually spent time to appreciate their roles and we respect their
yeah,
roles. And seems stupid, but even like you don't book a meeting with a chef at 1 p.m. I mean, you know, it's even just fundamentally down to those smaller things, like we respect the operation and we spend time building relationships with the team so that then when we need to pull our
yeah,
favors, that the operational team are, you know, are on board and up for the challenge.
yeah. And well, that's the secret of a great team, right? Is all pulling
Yeah,
in the same direction,
it's
and
give and take.
at least them giving you the forum to
Yeah.
unleash your harebrained ideas to them. And
Yes.
yeah, we'll think about that. That's fine. And yeah, we'll come back to you in 7 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
probably an indicator that that's not an idea to pursue. But anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think the other elements that I found interesting about your role is that you've been involved in production of an award-winning cookery book
Yes.
as well, and I'd imagine that falls under your remit to kind of facilitate
Hmm.
and make happen. What does that process involve? Because I don't care if anybody doesn't find this interesting. I find this interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. It's really exciting to launch a book, and that was actually my first book launch that I've ever done, which
Right?
very proud of. You know, what I always think in marketing is that things have to be authentic to the person. You know, Callum is our pie king, as we call him,
Yeah,
um, our pastry expert, and you know that is his passion. And so, being able to bring that book to fruition was easy in a sense because it all obviously there was lots of blood, sweat, and tears and tight deadlines, and but it comes from him naturally. Like we don't create ideas also without that collaboration. You know, I think it's really important to ensure that there is that authentic willingness and wanting to do that book. And Callum was really driving that. I mean, we were his cheerleaders on that side, you know, like
yeah,
he really led that. And and it was hugely successful because he wanted to do it, and it came from his heart and his soul to do so, and that allowed us to tell this amazing story of the pie room, and create his first cookbook, and our first cookbook for the property. And but it took a lot of his work and a lot of collaboration, and launches and eating.
Oh
That's
God.
hard. Pie a
Okay.
day, not so good for
Oh,
the
well, that's fair. Yeah, that's definitely a few extra hours in the gym then, isn't it,
right, exactly.
to
But
work
no,
that off.
it's a I believe, it's a bit like our pastry, our art afternoon tea concept. I don't I don't dictate what Mark Perkins wants to do for his concept. He comes to us and says, I want to create cakes inspired by Kusama,
Yeah,
or, because he's passionate about it. I think and then that's when the real magic comes out, because they're leading it from their heart, and that they are really passionate about creating that. And then that means that our storytelling is incredible and performs so well, because it's really from them and it's what they
yeah.
want to do.
And it's also coming from their passion and their
Right.
heart, and
Yeah.
that's easy then, I suppose, for you to translate into, something that works for the eye and for the way that you read it, and
Yeah.
all of these sorts of things. And I've actually experienced afternoon tea in the Rosewood. Yeah, when did that? That was like November last year, I think it was.
Yeah.
And one, of course, it's a beautiful space, of course,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's a real ingenuity in the offering. Service was amazing. The whole experience was
Thank you.
exceptional.
That
And
is
at the end of the
amazing to
day,
hear.
I think you're probably one of the most expensive afternoon teas out there, but
Mhm.
the sense of value that you get from that is phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, there's depth to it, right? The concept is, we stay true to the art concept, and so the research behind the detail in the pastry. So it's not, Mark doesn't just look at Kusama and the artwork that she created, but where did she live? What was her life like? There's Japanese influence in there. There's influence from when she lived in different parts of the world,
Mm,
and so that our team, from a service side, can tell that story to the guests. And so our guests aren't just getting like a beautiful cake; they're actually getting like an immersive experience where it's educational, it's cultural, it celebrates the artist, it showcases the amazing work the pastry team can do.
yeah,
Um, and even down to the stand, it's not a three-tier cake stand that you see so regularly. We've designed that tableware where you place the cakes inside, because it actually frames the cakes like a piece of art.
yeah.
It's art afternoon tea, and so there's a lot of thought behind all of the pieces, to create that concept.
Totally, and afternoon tea is one of the most successful parts of a UK hotel business, right? I mean, when you get it right,
Yeah.
but it's absolutely ripe for innovation, because that three-tier cake stand that you just mentioned is one of the most insociable things to put in the middle of a table.
So true.
Yeah, but anyway, we're not here to talk about afternoon tea.
Yeah.
But although I could actually talk about afternoon tea for a very
Mm.
long time,
It's a
but
topic.
and now I
It's
want
a topic
afternoon
in
tea.
itself.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, I mean, I think probably one of the other elements that you've probably got one of the most famous general managers slash MDs in the business
Yes.
as well. And I mean, if you follow him on I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about anyone. If you follow him on
Yeah.
Instagram, that man likes to travel, but he
Yes.
also, I feel like that must be quite easy to get up and come to work for somebody like that, because his energy, always the way that he portrays himself, he's such a hospitality person.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he really is. And I think we were saying, who wouldn't want to work for the George Clooney of
The
hospitality?
George Clooney, yes, that's a
mean,
recent tag, isn't it?
yeah, very amazing comment. He's like an industry titan, right? Like, he is hospitality through and through. He's
And
had
he's
an
only about
amazing career.
12 years old as well, isn't he?
He's really young, and
Yeah, he's done quite well.
he has he's done incredibly well, and he has this amazing energy and get up and go and dedication. But he really cares. It's not, he's an amazing marketeer and kind of face for the hotel, but the way he cares about the team, especially the 2 years that we've been through now, and his dedication and his commitment to the team is really, makes it easy to get up and come to
Yeah.
work when you have leadership like that. So yeah, we're very lucky to have him. He's a content king, so he's
He never stops.
he never stops. He's incredible. He's really great at it, and he has such a great following, and people love seeing what he's up to and where he's going next. And yeah, he's a real asset for us from a comms side as well,
Yeah.
because he knows it so well. He's had an incredible journey in some incredible hotels, and had a lot of experience on that side. So it's great for me
Yeah.
to be able to learn from him also.
Yeah. Yeah. He is also a great asset for hospitality. I think
Yeah.
that's really, really key.
Yeah. And he's really championing that as well, right? Especially right now,
Yeah.
we need to. They don't tell you about hospitality at school. They really don't kind of
No, I
paint
know.
any sort of picture that is like remotely attractive. And with the recruitment crisis that has been and is currently, we need to be ambassadors of the hospitality industry, and Michael is really fronting that in order to ensure that people know all of the wonderful things about working in this
Yeah.
industry. So he's doing an amazing job at that, and petitioning for things, and but it's really from the grassroots level that we need to inspire that younger talent.
I could not agree more. I mean, I was talking to somebody just about this. I talk to lots of people about this very subject all of the
Yeah.
time. And, somebody told me once that they were at school and they went to their careers advisor, didn't know what they wanted to do. Thinking about going into hospitality is what they said. And the careers advisor said, you should probably set your heights a little bit higher than that.
Right.
And you think, what?
Yeah.
This,
When what I think is incredible about hospitality is that you can really come in as like base level and grow so quickly, and
yeah,
there's so much mobility, there's so much career progression, that the skill set is so transferable between different departments and positions, and and also the travel aspect of it. If you want to
yeah. Well, just
travel.
just follow Michael on Instagram to get a sense of
Right. And,
of what's
he's worked
possible.
very hard and has also done all of the positions that may not be deemed as undesirable. But, the people that you get to work with, and the passion and that people carry, as hospitality people. It's funny because I always say, I was in retail in Harrods, and I was,
Yeah,
had done little retail jobs throughout university. And the reason why I moved to hospitality is because it's all heart. Like there's no heart in retail. I find like it's very
it's a
kind
bit
of
more
feels,
transactional.
yeah, it is. And whereas hospitality is all about the heart, it's all
Yeah,
about kind of welcoming people into your home and having that same like ethos around that. And I think, people looking for a career out there, and looking at what they can do and things, I think hospitality absolutely is 100% somewhere that allows for all types of people as well.
yeah,
It's so inclusive. And yeah, he's
yeah,
a great ambassador for what we're all trying to campaign for right now,
yeah.
which is getting people to fall in love with the industry.
Yeah, and there's a lot to fall in love with as well. And actually, this probably comes back to marketing at the end of the day. Like, how
Yeah.
often did you read for a time there that it's the greatest staffing crisis in the history of the
I know.
world,
Yeah.
and but actually, if you just put a reverse positive, fluffy marketing spin on it, there's never been a greater opportunity to join.
Right.
in terms of
the
how,
jobs are there.
and the
And
progress you can make.
yeah.
And if anybody's in any doubt about the importance of this industry, just imagine what happens if you take this industry away from people's lives in terms of they're going
Yeah.
out for food,
Which is what happened for 2 years, and how people, the
exactly.
reason why we're seeing such a surge is people want to be out and about and experiencing all of what hospitality has to offer,
Yeah,
because they've been deprived from it. They know what that feels like.
absolutely. So yeah, ask not what hospitality can do for you, but ask what you can do for hospitality,
Right.
because there is no more honorable profession in the world, I think, in
Mm,
terms of
yeah, I agree.
creating things that make people feel special.
Yeah.
There we are, solved it right there.
Solved it.
Yeah, great, we can go now. That's fine. Now, a question I ask everyone, hopefully
Yeah.
you're ready for this, and I appreciate actually asking this question to somebody who's a director of communications, where putting the right communication on things is very, very important.
Yeah.
But do you have any funny stories from your career that you can share with us
Oh, yeah.
that don't get you into
Oh,
trouble?
yeah. It's good. It's a goodie.
Oh, great.
Well,
Oh, you set that up well.
there's a couple of ones. I think my marketing fail, you
Okay,
learn from your failures, right?
for
And
sure.
I went to my sister's university graduation, and it was University of Surrey, and they had some speakers there that were speaking to the newly graduated people, big people, a guy from Google, and that kind of caliber. And this guy was a marketing guy, and he was saying, this has been my career, and this is what I've done. And he was super young and really impressive. And this was a good few years ago now, but I remember him saying, but I have had failures too. And to humanize it a little bit, that he hasn't had all this success. And
Yeah,
he said, one time I sent out a campaign that was completely wrong and went to all the wrong people, but this was like to hundreds of thousands of people and everything. And I was thinking, oh my god, that's awful. Like, who would ever do that?
yeah.
Me.
Well, I also have a story similar, so
Oh,
we'll come to that in a
and
minute.
and and in that moment when I did that in my young marketing manager life, that was the end of the world for me. Like, I punished myself so much,
Yeah,
and you learn from these things, but it was definitely like one of those moments where you're just like, this isn't for me, I'm not good enough, like. And I had to really reassure myself that, and rebuild my confidence again. And I was like, that guy that you watched speak about that did exactly the same to way more people, and he's like top in Google in his career. So
yeah.
it's okay to make mistakes, and
Or yeah,
it's not ideal, but it also, now in the grand scheme of things, feels like a very small thing that
yeah.
happened. And I'm sure a lot of other marketeers can relate in terms of moments like that they've had. But yeah, we're human.
Yeah, and mistakes are inevitable, right? I mean, we it doesn't
Right.
matter. I would imagine that Michael makes mistakes, despite the fact
Yeah,
that
we
he looks
all,
like
like,
George Clooney. But
that's even though he is George Clooney of
yeah,
hospitality.
indeed, actually, doesn't look
Um,
like him, does he? He just carries himself like that's probably what
yeah.
it is. But anyway, no, I have I've never been a marketeer, but I have one of the things that you learn as a recruiter is lots of little bits about lots of little bits. And one of the things
Yeah.
that we used to do, this is going back many, many years, and I was actually out of industry at this point. I was working for an accountancy recruitment firm, and we used to do a candidate mail shot, which is something I hate, by the way, as a recruiter.
Yeah.
But when I was working for this company, you had to do what you were told. So you'd put together a list of, I don't know, 5 to 6 candidates who were available now. This was the background and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
And on one of those candidates, I put down has 4 years of accounts experience and blah 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 or whatever, and sent it out to this, and I got within, I don't know, 10 minutes of sending this out, I got one of my closest clients at the time sent back saying, you might want to just check line 4 under
Oh
that
no.
candidate. And let's put it this way, I'd missed out a letter in accounts which made it sound like something else.
Oh
That
no.
letter, yeah, that letter was O. Yeah, honestly, you could feel, that
Oh
kind of,
yeah. You
oh
just
my
want the
God.
ground to swallow you up, like
Yeah,
it's the worst feeling because we're perfectionists in our role, right?
yeah. And
In
actually, what you
communications,
said
that's what we do.
about kind of, not, I mean, I don't think I've ever hated myself, but in that moment, you're like, oh my God, you are so useless.
Yeah.
Like, just take
I
a
was like,
minute.
it's over. I'm gonna get fired. I
Yeah,
was literally like,
yeah,
this is,
um,
I'm never coming back from this.
yeah.
You know,
Weirdly, I actually won a lot of business on the back of that because it was an interaction point.
right?
Um,
It
you
actually
know,
starts people talking.
yeah, totally. But
Yeah, it was a terrifying one, which was, you know, the daily challenges of our lives.
yeah, 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 yeah,
It's how, and I think what's really important is it's how you come back or go through those things.
absolutely.
Like the most successful people have huge resilience, and you don't get defeated by moments that you feel like, oh God, that really wasn't my finest hour.
Mm,
It's about how you move
bounce
forward
back.
from those things and learn and grow,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
is
Well, I mean, there's a cliche, and I can't, as normal listeners of the show will understand, that I can't get through a show without a cliche being thrown in. But they do say that I think it might have been Richard Branson that said this, if you want to be successful, double your fail rate.
right.
Because there's lessons in all of these
Everything.
things. Yeah,
Yeah, you really,
abs-
yeah. It's and you know, with my team as well, I encourage them to feel like they can make mistakes,
yeah,
because that's where creativity comes from. If you're playing safe all the time and you're always staying in the lane, you're never pushing the boundaries and you're never testing anything. And
yeah,
it is all about that. In order to be a good marketeer, it's about pushing and testing and trying. And because also in this digital world now, you can just delete it or remove it or take it down, or if it doesn't work, which is the beauty of it. So
yeah,
yeah, it's important. It's hugely important.
yeah, and own your mistakes as
Own
well.
it.
Like
Yeah.
that's a great piece
Yeah.
of advice
Yeah,
from your
absolutely.
Uncle Phil. Great stuff. What's in store for the year ahead for you and for Rosewood?
Wow. Well, it's already looking crazy busy, which is really exciting. Events are back. The build up of weddings. There's a huge amount of weddings on the books. Travel is coming back. We've got the Jubilee.
Yeah.
So we're doing lots of fun things around that in the courtyard, because we have such a special space there to do a really nice celebration. There's going to be new afternoon tea launches, so you have to come down again
Oh
to
goodness.
have some of those cakes. Scarves Bar's going to have a really amazing new menu. We're growing as a team and building that team back up again, which is amazing. And and yeah, I'm also back out supporting Europe again, which is great. So off to our new property in Madrid next week to help the
Fantastic.
team over there and support them as well. So we have Vienna opening very soon
God,
too this
oh
year.
go.
And yeah, we're rolling with the openings. I think for Rosewood London, we're just, we're getting up to our going to be 10th year very soon. So we're really maturing in that sense, and we're going through a soft refurbishment at the moment. So all the rooms are getting a nice refresh, which is going to be great.
Yeah,
But then looking out to Europe and the brand and how we're growing that side, there's lots to come. So there was a big focus on Asia and a big focus on the US, and now we're moving over to Europe over the next few years. So
fantastic. And
exciting.
another property coming to London as well,
Yeah, in 2024. So we've
right?
got a few years yet, but that's going to come around super quick.
Isn't it just?
The footprint is amazing. I
Yeah,
mean, we
I've
have an
I've walked past it.
incredible piece of the the pie as such over in Mayfair. So that's really exciting that we're over there as well. And so, yeah, we'll be opening that sister property. So lots of things to do, lots of things already to do. So we're ramping up, we're getting started. So yeah, it's exciting.
Fantastic.
It's really good feeling to be back.
Yeah.
We're back and we're in
properly.
Proper, yeah.
Yeah.
That stopping and starting.
Yeah,
it's no good for anyone. It's a really strange feeling to continue that. So
you can't build up any momentum, can you, with that? No, that's great. I mean, it all sounds wonderful. You've had a great career so far.
Thank you.
Feels like you're kind of almost just getting started as well.
Oh,
like
yeah. I've arrived. This is now for the next few years. That's my focus. So, but yeah. But
it definitely feels like you're somewhere that agrees with you greatly, and that comes across in your. We've not known each other for very long, but you're always a happy-go-lucky demeanor, and that's difficult to be happy-go-lucky if you're not happy in your work.
Right.
So yeah, no, I salute you and the work that you guys are doing. You're such an aspirational property for this industry. I think a lot of companies look to you guys to see what you're up to next. But yeah, I wish you guys all and you the very best going forward.
Thank you so much, Phil. It was really great to talk. Thank you.
Yes, I'm glad we got there in the end. It's that's what happens when people get busy, right? Schedules are tricky.
Exactly. No, thank you so much for your time, and it was really good to talk through all those things.
Likewise. If people want to get a hold of you to learn about you or Rosewood, what's the best method for them to do that?
Well, I'm normally running around in the hotel, so you'll find me there.
Right.
Or on a photo shoot with a goat or something really random.
Excellent. Yep.
You never know what we're doing over here.
That's a life tick box done, isn't it? Photo shoot with goat done.
Photo shoot with rabbits, goats, and kids was definitely a wild one that we did like a few years ago.
That sounds like it.
But you can always find me on property here at Rosewood, London, or of course on Instagram and things like that. So I'm around.
Wicked. Great stuff. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Amelia, and wish you a very pleasant day ahead.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And there we have it. A cracking story so far from Amelia, who demonstrates that positivity and passion really do rule when you're putting your career together. She's forged a great career so far with huge success, and I feel there's a lot more to come. We will, of course, be back next Wednesday with another cracking story from hospitality. So until then, thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.